Hey, what is up guys? Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to Gran Turismo 7. It's that time of the week again. Once again, the weekly challenges have now been updated. This time around we are getting the best reward possible, a free 6-star free car ticket, which is perhaps the best of the tickets that we receive. It's typically, coming around once a month or so, and obviously rewards one of the higher end cars in the game. So let's get into having a look at an overview for this week and the weekly challenges. So it's February week 3. As you can see, for completing one event we're going to get 100,000 credits. For completing 3 events it's 150,000 credits, giving us a total of 250k. Then for completing all 5 events you're going to get this 6-star roulette ticket car, which is typically worth upwards of $1 million plus. Again, with a resale value you're talking an extra 500k, or perhaps you're going to bag yourself a car that you don't already have, saving yourself upwards of $1 million credits. In terms of the events, for the first event we have the European Sunday Cup 400, which takes place at Sardenga Road Track B. Then we move on to a bit of a weird one, a little bit of a longer one to what is typically the shorter events of the 5. We have Race of the Turbo Sports Cars, this time at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. Then we move on to the World Rally Challenge for a bit of a shorter event at the village version of Alsace. Again, whilst it does say World Rally Challenge, you can essentially blag it with some, fairly high powered 700 pp to 750 pp cars. It doesn't have to be a rally car. Then we've got the return of the VGT Trophy. Can't get my words right there. That will be at Tokyo Expressway south counterclockwise. And then finally finishing up with the Gr.1 Prototype series at Suzuka circuit, which can have the possibility of variable weather. So in terms of the events themselves, a much better selection than what we've seen for at least the last few weeks. Let's have a look at event number 1 though, the European Sunday Cup 400 at Sardenga Road Track B. In typical fashion, this is the shortest event of the week. It's going to be a 2-lap sprint around the B layout of Sardenga Road Track. In terms of the PP rating, there is no cap. However, the majority of the AI are going to be around that 400 PP limit as a maximum. So a lot of the slower cars in the game. Now I went for the McLaren F1. This is a car that I bought out the Legendary dealership and have actually never driven, and I'd heard plenty of bad things about it, and I fully agree. For a 20 million car, regardless of the historic presence of this vehicle, it's just terrible in GT7. It's very heavy, very drifty, and to be totally honest, the race versions are the better way to go, and they are overall cheaper. So yeah, in terms of a 20 million vehicle, definitely didn't get too much of my money's worth. I don't really think players need much of a guide to this event. It is just very straightforward, very easy. Without a PP limit cap, you can pretty much dive into it in anything from Europe, regardless of its PP rating. So that's going to give us tick number 1 of the week. With it being a relatively short event, we're only getting paid 10,500 credits with the clean race bonus, a total of 5 miles covered. However, this is going to bag us the 100,000 credit ticket reward for obviously the first tick of the week. Quickly onwards to event number 2. Now it's a little bit of a longer event for a second event of the week. This is the Race of the Turbo Sports Cars over at Michelin Raceway Road, Atlanta. Perhaps one of my favorite categories of championships, or I guess series, that we see within this game, just due to the fact that there is a ton of customized turbocharged sports cars rolling around, ranging from modern cars all the way down to some of those 90s JDM classics. So it really is sort of a field to behold. So I absolutely do love these events. So in typical fashion of the Race of the Turbo Sports Car events, it's going to be a 5-lap sprint, so things such as tire life and fuel usage are not a thing. In terms of the vehicles that I recommend using, I used the Mitsubishi Concept VGT here, as it was a car that I'd never used, and I massively regretted my choice. It's insanely slow, regardless of how good it is on the brakes or around corners. So in terms of a car that I recommend using, any of your typical 700 pp grind cars, things like the Honda RA272, things like the Mitsubishi Evo 3 and such, should realistically work for these events. Now obviously you've just got to ensure that it is turbocharged, so if you strapped a turbo on, it should be eligible. If you've got a car that's running NA and stuff, then it is obviously not going to be able to be raced in this event. So any of your turbocharged cars that have ran in, you know, the likes of, you know, Le Mans 700 and such, should be a very, very good pick here, considering they usually are overall some of the best of the bunch for that PP rating. In terms of taking the lead, I took this at the end of lap 3 going on to lap 4, and I pretty much never looked back. As the race went on, we managed to drag out a 10-second gap even in this fairly awful car on the hardest difficulty. That's going to give us tick number 2 of the week. In terms of payout, it's not too bad with the clean race bonus. It's 94,500 credits. Again, not too bad for a 5-lap sprint event. Next up, we have the World Rally Challenge. Again, this is going to be on a bit of a weird layout, and it's a series that I don't think we've really seen too much of in terms of the weekly challenges, so it is great to see it return. Whilst it does say World Rally Challenge, it isn't limited just to rally cars. There is a PP limit cap on it, however there is no category cap on it, so it won't just be Group B cars. However, sticking with the theme, I then went to go and use obviously a tuned up rally car. This is one that I use for my league racing. It does have a tarmac tune on it currently, so it just felt like a nice fit. So because this car now sits to my league rules, it does actually have a ton of power restriction on it. However, this did allow me to run the better compound of tyre, or the best in the game, which is the racing softs, considering there is no fuel use or tyre use at this 3-lap sprint. So in terms of, you know, tackling this relatively complex track, it was an absolute breeze, even if we were down a little bit on power. However, we did have like things such as a medium RPM turbocharger and such installed on the car. Now in terms of this event, if you are a PSVR 2 user, I fully recommend getting it out for this event. This is perhaps one of the best visual events in the entire game, and it goes completely forgotten about. Whilst it does start in day, it will go to night, and as you enter that last lap, you will see a ton of fireworks and, you know, flames coming off the cars and such. It is just absolutely a visual treat. So if you do have VR like I do, I fully recommend whipping it out. This is perhaps one of the better events in the game for just, you know, showing off those amazing visuals in VR. In terms of taking the lead though, it was relatively easy. We did it on the final lap, even with that power restriction, and took a very easy win overall by around about 2 seconds of a gap in around 3 laps. So that's going to be tick number 3 in terms of the clean race bonus payout. It's 90,000 credits for this one. That is then going to give us our daily marathon reward, which is a 3-star roulette ticket, as well as rewarding us with our second reward of the week for completing 3 events, which is 150,000 credits. Onwards to event number 4. This is a return of the VGT Trophy. This is one of the newer events to the game, this time on Tokyo Expressway south counterclockwise. This one came with update 1.42. That means that we've now had, I believe, all of the VGT additional events since that update rolled out. Now I'm going to use the Genesis VGT here in its completely standard form. Now I know a lot of people absolutely hate this car after the time trial at Monza, but just due to the fast layout of the south counterclockwise layout, honestly cars like this are an absolute breeze around here. Plus, some of the VGTs at the front are an absolute rocket ship, considering there is also another Genesis, a Peugeot VGT, and one of the Porsche VGTs, which absolutely rocket to some ridiculous speeds. Now, when it comes to this event itself, I do like to compare it to Ridge Racer Type 4, when it came to those night races rolling around in those weird and wacky futuristic looking vehicles, and that's what this race feels like with the VGTs. So, in terms of, you know, the absolute style and stuff, this is perhaps one of the better Vision Gran Turismo Trophy races. Really brings me to a throwback of the old days of Ridge Racer Type 4. In terms of taking the lead though, like I said, there is a few cars near the front that may cause you a problem. The first of which being the car that we overtook there, which is the Peugeot VGT, the Porsche Roadster VGT, and obviously the Genesis X, which is going to match you on top speed, considering we can't really get any extra power upgrades on this car, and that will comfortably sit way over 200 miles per hour on the straight. However, it's all about driving skill here, so as long as you are driving well, and if you want to put a better tyre compound on, then you should relatively easily take the win. That's the 4th tick of the week, and in terms of the payout with a clean race bonus, it's 127,500 credits, so not too bad for another 5-lap sprint event. Finally, on to the final event of the week. This is the Gr.1 Prototype series, taking place at my favourite track in the entirety of any racing game ever and the entire world, Suzuka circuit. Now Suzuka is a bit of a tricky one. It really does have a lack of clear overtaking spots, considering it's very tight, very twisty and very technical. Now I settled here for the SF23 Super Formula, the Honda version. This is a variable weather event, so rain can come. In terms of your fuel mix, you are going to have to worry about that as well as tyre life. I recommend fuel mix 6 and then just cruising around waiting for the other cars ahead to pit, and also waiting for the possibility of rain coming. However, if you're like me and get lucky, you can get a full dry event with rain kind of crossing over, missing and then just kind of disappearing and not coming back. Now because we're running at fuel mix 6, we're running the racing mediums as well. With this Super Formula, they will hang out until the entire end of the event, meaning that we do not have to pit, whilst all the other cars around us will have to pit. So whilst we will naturally catch them even in fuel mix 6, all of the cars around you will pit, meaning that you can eventually get a nice gap to P2 and take a relatively easy win in this very easy to drive car. So again, in terms of AI, at first it may seem very quick. In terms of just monitoring them, just see what they're doing. A lot of them will be pitting multiple times, especially some of the front runners like the Peugeot and the 908. They do seem to have multiple pit stops. Again, just keep your eye out for weather and you should be all good to take a relatively easy win, even when you're absolutely running the car at its lowest fuel mix. 175k, we didn't get the clean race bonus because we did end up clipping the McLaren through halfway through that race, and that is going to give us our final reward of the week, which is a 6-star car ticket. So let's open up all our rewards that we gained through that weekly challenge run. We're going to open up our daily marathon reward first. This was a 3-star roulette ticket. In all honesty, I'm not expecting anything good from this, and well, that's exactly what we got. So we took 10,000 credits from a 3-star roulette ticket. So we're just going to add that to the bank balance. Then we're going to add the 100k ticket, which was for completing one event, and then we're going to quite swiftly move on to the 150,000 credit ticket, which we got for completing 3 events, and then we're going to move on to the best reward possible for these weekly challenges, the free car reward. Now in terms of the car yourself, if you get I guess a duplicate car, feel free to sell it. That's going to put you straight in profit. If not, there is a chance to get things like the time limited cars, as well as some of the VGTs, some of the Group 1s as well. We got a pretty lackluster reward here, the BMW VGT. However, it does retail for 1 million credits, meaning that we can sell it for a reasonable profit once it hits that peak. So let me know what reward car you got. A big thank you to all of my channel members: Lewis Vieira, Old School Gamers, Crazy Cobra, JRO49, Carl Wyatt, Phil Wilmot, Dominic Saylor, Dan, Sean and Chris 75572. Massive thank you for your continued support. If you do want to become a channel member and support this channel between videos, it is massively appreciated. Let me know what reward you got. Let me know what you think of this week. I absolutely think this is one of the better weeks we've had in a while. The events are kind of, different from each other. There's no kind of copy paste or just absolutely ridiculously terrible events, and it is going to take you a decent amount of time to gain those rewards, which I do really like. I feel like I'm actually getting rewarded properly. I'll see you in the next one. Take care, guys. Peace.